In order to test our previous hypothesis of transportation in New York City, we traveled to see the city for ourselves.
With much research, interviewing, lectures, and surveys,
we learned about the history of transportation in New York and understood how it is similar to other modes of transportation throughout the world.
Please watch the gap between the train and the platform.
if you were to describe transportation in New York City in one word or less, what would that word be?
Dirty.
Efficient.
Effective.
Slow. Easy.
Efficient. Disorganized.
So when I think about transportation in New York City, I think it's very busy. Subway's kind of dangerous, sketchy, and but it's very convenient.
Accessible.
Busy.
Complicated.
Dirty.
Hard.
Efficient. Slow.
Crowded.
Fabulous.
After almost leaving somebody in Grand Central and many subway rides, we walked through New York City to the Department of Transportation, where we met Michelle Kosick, Director of Strategic Communications and at the New York City Department of Transportation.
Most difficult jobs to manage in the city of New York.
We learned about many aspects of transportation in the city, including its history.
New York City's transportation advanced rapidly as the growth of technology spread. In the 1830s, the city set up its first steamboat line. Soon, horse-drawn carriages came to be a prominent form of getting around. Then, cable cars, motorized buses, followed by elevated trains, and by the early 1900s, the subway became a prominent form of transportation in the city. We interviewed an anonymous train conductor and asked her a few questions about her job.
I like being around the trains and I like being around people because being on trains is not like a regular place, it's like a special place. All kinds of very special people get on the train.
New York has always been a fast-paced city. People are always rushing to get places. The city grew more and more to fit its needs of residents and find a quicker way to get from one place to the next. The subway system is the perfect way to accomplish this.
There is no traffic and it moves so fast. The New Yorkers seem to catch on. On the first subway's opening, over 100,000 people rode on it. After many modifications and hard work, New York City's subway system became one of the most busy and extensive in the entire world.
If boats in Venice were to be compared to one mode of transportation in New York City, it would have to be the car, as simple as that sounds. In Venice, boats were used as a personal mode of transportation, as are cars.
We traveled to New York to learn more. We conducted a survey with one simple question and a follow-up one. We discovered that only 40% of people in the city own a car, while in Venice a low percent of people also own their own boat. Out of those people who have a car, we found that 12.5 never use their car, 50 sometimes use it, and only 35.5 of people use their cars often.
This goes to show that with so many people living there, New York City can't function as well without its public transportation.
For 155 years, horse carriages have been available to New Yorkers and tourists in New York. The form of transportation first came about in 1858 in Central Park. Soon it had been discovered as the best way to see the 843-acre park and thus became widespread in the city.
In 1862, the City Council recognized the demand for horse-drawn vehicles and hired them from the suburbs, granting an exemption to Sunday prohibitions to hack stand license. Today, these carriages still have an important function in New Yorkers as Sunday carriages line up for visitors at Central Park every week.
Horse carriages have proven one of the most reliable forms of movement in New York. Today, carriages hold tours which allow the public to experience the park in the same way its architect Olmsted intended it to be experienced.
Since New Yorkers don't have the luxury of barns and thus are not able to experience horses, horse-drawn transportation is a way for citizens to meet and learn about real working horses.
Can we just pet it?
Sure, get him on the
There's 150 to 160 stalls in the city, 78 of them are here. It's a community-owned stable, so that means it's 15 owners. All carriage, all owner-operators, all hands-on that are here.
I had a great experience coming into the stables. That's exactly what I saw here today. I'm really happy to be able to be part of this experience. I look forward to coming back in future days and continue, feeding the horses and hanging out with the workers and talking about, how we continue keeping this tradition and this industry going.
The horses are treated very well. Horses don't work any more than 7 hours a day. There's 2 horses for every carriage, one for the daytime, one for nighttime. And they get shot about every 5-6 weeks. And they get 5 weeks a year vacation. We send them either to Lancaster, Pennsylvania to farms or else upstate New York to farms. Treated very well. Horse and carriage business has been here for over 100 years. They've been going through Central Park ever before the car was invented. 100 years.
How did you get into this?
I got in, my brother owned a horse and carriage years ago. And when I came over here from Ireland about 25 years ago, I got a job. There was a lot of Irish guys driving the horses. I guess just that we like the horses.
When comparing horse carriages in New York to dog sledding in Alaska, there are some similarities which are apparent. They both allow people to experience the land around them in a way that they could not using any other means of transport. Moreover, both are used for fun and not because it is needed to get from place to place.
Horse carriages can hold up to 6 people, not including the driver. Horse carriages have wheels, whereas dog sledding does not need them because snow allows the sled to be moved. Speaking of geography, horse carriages can only be used when there is road or a flat platform, thus making them impossible to be used in snow if there is no ground for the horse to walk on.
Both dog slidings and horse carriage can remain a reliable way to get around for centuries, and both have living animals attached to a structure in which a person can sit. Both can make profit of the transportation as well. Despite these similarities, there are still an abundance of differences.
There are only some of the differing or similar aspects of the two forms of transportation. There are many points to touch upon regarding the topics. While both transports have aspects in common and differing, they are important means of passage.
Transportation is the basic needs in human daily life. There are plenty types of transportation in New York City, like subway, which becomes more and more common, and ferry, which becomes more well developed because of the geography in New York City and the area around New York City.
What makes the transportation in New York so different from other cities? Some cities are different because of the differences in culture, others because there is a faster or slower way of life, and some because the ways of living are differing.
From Mr. Chow's presentation, we can see that there is such a big difference between the bus in New York City and the bus in Korea. And also we can see how transportation evolved according to the daily lives of people in New York City.
Taxis are one of the most common transportations around the world. The reason why it becomes so widely used is because of its convenience and efficiency. In the past few years, taking a taxi to work or school is always the best choice. However, because of traffic jams and prices, nowadays people prefer to take subway. But except for the traffic jams and the price issue, what makes taxi be the best choice for either tourists or residents a few years ago?
So, what's the differences and similarities between taxis in New York and the rickshaw in Tokyo? Compared to the rickshaw, which needs human power, the taxi can move much faster because it is almost 100% based on technology, which will save more time. Furthermore, the person who can drive the taxi can also have an easier time than the person who can pull the rickshaw.
Moreover, taxis are much less environmentally friendly than rickshaws. For example, taxis have air conditioners and rickshaws don't, because taxis are more based around technology. Like taking the rickshaw, people can have a really good view of the city by taking a taxi while traveling. However, you can't really experience the local life of the native residents in the city on a taxi, like you can on the rickshaw. Taking the taxi while traveling can only show you the basic or most famous tourist attractions.
And another biggest difference between taking a rickshaw and taking a taxi is that taxi will be affected by traffic jam. And traffic jam will occur at any time for any reason, like a car accident or just because there are too many cars on the roads, which will be so annoying in both daily life or while traveling. People will spend hours getting through the traffic jam. Overall, rickshaw is a transportation used more in daily life when people are not in a hurry or just want to experience the local residents' life, even if it's not as common as it was.
And taxis are actually more often used when traveling a long distance and more common to be used by tourists. But both of them are really good choices for tourists while visiting foreign cities because they can bring you different exciting experiences in the city.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching.